And a good Monday evening, everybody. Chris McDonald with you on this Monday night, the 6th day of November, 2023. We are coming to you on remote location tonight because we're down south, and we'll be here pretty much most of the week. And but I wanted to have a show tonight. We had originally planned to have John McTurnan with us tonight, but John had to come on earlier, and I just wasn't available earlier tonight. We were running a little late what we were doing today with our project, and so it's just going to be me tonight. But I do have a special guest coming here in just a few minutes, and I'll introduce him to you. You've heard him before, and we're going to have him on the phone here in just a second. I just wanted to come on and welcome everybody. Now, we're not opening the chat up just yet. We will shortly. We will take your questions on this late night special. I know it's around 11 o'clock. It's about 10:30 in the Central Time Zone, 11:30 out west or in the east, and then it's about 8:30 out west. So you folks out west have already eaten dinner and getting ready to watch Hannity or something other crap on television. So you got a better alternative tonight than that. We are grateful that you're here with us tonight. Don't forget, donations, we appreciate those. PayPal.me/the McFiles. Our Zelle accounts, chrismac44@gmail.com. And cash.app/$the McFiles. If you want to throw a few dollars at us tonight, we would certainly use it and appreciate it. We just appreciate everything you do to keep this show going and so forth. TheMcFiles.org is our website. And we're grateful that you're here tonight on this Monday night, the 6th day of November. Where do I start? Before I bring my guest on tonight, I want to play a couple of videos, and one video in particular. And I'm going to have to get my glasses on so I can see, so I'll make sure I play the right video. But I want to just play this before we get going tonight, and then we're going to talk to you a little bit tonight about several things tonight. I want you to come over here and I want you to watch this here tonight. This is actually, that's not what I want to play. That's not what I want to play. I'll talk about that loser, that right there, and this loser as well. We'll play this. By the way, for all of the anti-Semites that are telling us tonight that the Palestinian people are just peaceful, and they are just so oppressed and just have no desire but peace for Israel. Well, this was the Palestinian people, not Hamas, but the Palestinian people on 10/7. They put their calendar backwards there in Israel and in the Middle East, and it says 7/10. Well, that means it was October the 7th, the day of the attacks. I'll just let the video speak for itself for about 24 seconds. These are the peaceful Palestinians that want a state next to Israel and claim they just want peace. They don't want oppression. And they live in an apartheid state. Don't look like an apartheid state to me. Looks like a bunch of freaking terrorists. They are rejoicing, folks, at the carnage in Israel. Some of what people deny happened. This is another video. We really wanted to play this Friday night if we'd have came on, but of course we were traveling and getting ready and coming. I don't know what we were doing Friday night, but we were not on. And I'm going to the wedding, of course, my nephew. But I wanted to play this over the weekend. This is from last week, but it's worth watching. This is Josh Hawley in a beatdown of Mayorkas. This was last week, toward the end of the week. Still relevant to what's going on tonight, folks, because you got basically people in the government that's basically protecting these terrorists, protecting these murderers, these rapists, the baby killers. And I got a lot to say about that more before the night's out. Roll the tape.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Mayorkas, let me start with you. You're familiar with the chant, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." You familiar with that?
I am.
Do you know what it means?
I do.
Can you explain it to us?
Watch closely, folks. Watch closely.
It's a chant that speaks of Palestinian desire for its homeland and a very expansive definition of its homeland at the expense of the independence of Israel.
Well,
The removal of
it calls for
Israel.
the elimination of Israel.
Thank you, Josh.
It does.
So my question to you is, should students who are here on a visa, who gather and chant that slogan and actively advocate for the elimination of Israel and attacks on Jewish individuals, whether in the Middle East or here in the United States, as we're seeing on college campuses, should those students have their visas revoked?
Senator, I believe you are referencing a provision in the Immigration and Nationality Act about which you have written to me, and I am very familiar with your assertion that that statutory provision requires the revocation of their visa.
But should they have their visas revoked? I'm asking you.
We are assessing your legal assertion. It is a matter of legal interpretation of the statute.
This
Well,
man needs
just
to be
as a
impeached.
moral matter, I mean, should students who are here, foreigners who are here in this country,
Come on, Josh.
accessing our university system
Come on,
and
Josh.
advocating for the killing of Jews, should they be allowed to stay here at our leisure?
No, they should not.
Senator, it is a matter of law, and it requires a legal interpretation, and I am not in a
Jesus.
position to provide that legal interpretation. And let me add something.
Wait. I just, my time is very limited. I have to say, I think your answer is disappointing, but let me ask you something else. Let me ask you about people who say other things. What about people who say things like, on October the 7th, F Israel, I'm cleaning up the language here, F Israel, the government and its military, are you ready for your downfall? People who say things like F Israel and any Jew who supports Israel. May your conscience haunt your dreams until your last breath. Palestine will be free one day. F apartheid Israel and is any Israeli. This is pretty extreme rhetoric, don't you think?
Senator, I do, and I think there is a distinction between espousing or endorsing terrorist ideology and speech that is odious, that does not rise to that level.
Fair enough. This person works for you. This is Nuja Ali, an employee of the Department of Homeland Security,
Yep.
who posted these comments on October the 7th. That's not all she posted. She also posted this graphic. Now, this is a fake graphic, I want to be clear, but I think we understand it. This is a paraglider, a Hamas paraglider, depicted here with a machine gun flying into Israel. She posted it under her online alias with the celebratory Free Palestine. Mr. Secretary, what's going on here? Is this typical of people who work at DHS? This is an asylum and immigration officer who is posting these frankly pro-genocidal slogans and images on the day that Israelis are being slaughtered in their beds. What have you done about this?
Nothing.
4 things I'd like to say to you.
Oh, give me a
Number
break.
one, your question to suggest that that is emblematic.
It is
of the men and
emblematic.
women of the Department of Homeland
It
Security
is emblematic.
is despicable.
No, it's not.
I'm sorry. What have you done? This person
Come on,
works
Josh.
for the Department of Homeland Security. Have you fired her?
That
Nope.
was one of 4 answers.
Have you fired her?
One,
Have you fired her? Don't come to this hearing room when Israel has been invaded and Jewish students are barricaded in libraries in this country and cannot be escorted out
I
because
like
they
Josh
are threatened
Hawley.
for their lives. You have employees who are celebrating genocide, and you are saying it's despicable for me to ask the question? Has she been fired?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Secretary.
After the consumption of Senator Hawley's time, I'd like to speak.
Has she been fired?
Because I will
We
not
would like
be,
an answer. Would you?
because I will not be given the opportunity.
Has she been fired?
So that individual has been placed on administrative leave.
So she's not been fired.
Number two.
Why has she not been fired?
Number two, the individual was hired in 2019.
Why has she not been
Number
fired?
3, I cannot speak to an ongoing personnel matter.
Oh,
Why
good
has this
gracious.
person not been fired? Your answer is you can't speak to it? This isn't sufficient to fire her?
I am not in a position to speak to an ongoing personnel matter.
This
That-
isn't sufficient to fire her? That's what you're telling me?
That is not what I'm saying.
But she's still on your payroll as we sit here today.
That is not what I'm saying.
She's still on your payroll as we sit here today.
She's on our payroll, guys. She's on the Department of Homeland Security's payroll.
An immigration officer. How many cases did she adjudicate?
Senator, I'm not in a position to speak about an ongoing person.
I'm not asking about that. I'm asking you how many cases she adjudicated.
My answer remains.
Did she adjudicate any cases involving Israelis seeking asylum in this country?
Same answer.
Well, let me just point you to what else she posted on social media, where she drew attention to the fact that she is an immigration and asylum officer.
It gets better, folks.
Immigrants, hashtag asylum seekers, hashtag Palestine, hashtag refugees welcome. This is on her LinkedIn post, where she has her professional affiliation posted. So I think the American people deserve to know, has she admitted, contrary to law, individuals who should not be in this country, or denied Jewish refugees,
come on, Josh,
whose genocide she's advocating, asylum that they deserve?
Same answer.
You're not gonna tell us what this person's done? Are you conducting a review of her cases at least?
Senator, as I have said over and over again, I cannot speak to an ongoing.
You said that you will not. I can't believe that you would come to this committee knowing this. You know about this. I've written to you about it. You know all about it.
That's the linchpin. He had already written to Mayorkas about it.
Answer and suggest that it is wrong of me to ask you the question. Quite frankly, Mr. Secretary, I think that your performance is despicable. And I think the fact that you are not willing to provide answers to this committee is absolutely atrocious.
Thank you, Josh. I'll amen that tonight. I'll amen that over and over. Now, folks, I'm not going to have a lot of time to deal with that, but I want to come back to my screen tonight. What you just heard, folks, was just 5 days ago, less than 4 days ago. That's in your government. When Josh said, is she on your payroll? It ain't Mayorkas' payroll. It's on our payroll. You got people in the government, folks, that are pushing genocide on Israel. I want to say this tonight. I need to get the week off started with a bang. I want to look in this camera. I want to tell these anti-Semites on the Christian side tonight, you still disgust me. Every one of you. I don't care if you go by the name of prophet. I don't care if you go by the name of network executive. I don't care if you got the biggest Telegram following in the world. I don't care if you go by the name of teacher. I don't care if you got the biggest mega church in America. You pastors that are sitting behind your sorry pulpits with your sorry mouth silent about what's going on in the world tonight because you're too scared to offend your Arab-loving, Jew-hating, tithe-paying members tonight. You should be ashamed of yourself for not speaking out in support of a situation that the moral clarity between what's right and wrong is as clear as the nose on your face. It is as clear. Some of you are just plain cowards. You're just cowards. You're nothing but a cowardly bunch of sorry losers and racists and anti-Semites. And I see a post or two from time to time, well, it's not anti-Semitic to push for the equalization of all of Jerusalem and Ramallah and Gaza. Folks, let me tell you something. The Gaza Strip tonight is full of people that hate Israel. They hate Israel. And by the way, if I can draw this in crayon, if I can put this in terms you can understand tonight, they hate America too. Is that enough for your mental IQ to acquiesce to? Let me say it again, folks. They hate America too. It's a good thing I'm in this hotel tonight. I'd be screaming a lot louder. They hate you too. They hate you too. And if you think for a second that these same people that you're marching hand in hand with and silent in your conspiracy of silence acquiescing to what went on in Israel on October the 7th, and you've got people out there that are even more despicable that are claiming all this is false, that the babies in the ovens are false, the stories about babies who had their heads cut off is false, that Israel's hiding this to perpetrate a genocide, a return genocide on the Gaza people and on the Palestinian people. And I watched a newscast just briefly tonight. They have not mentioned the death toll in Israel in 2 weeks on this network, not this one, but the one that was pushing this. But they mentioned the death toll in the Palestinian areas of Gaza every single second, every single minute. There was a 65-year-old man that got beat to death tonight by a Palestinian man. When the Charlottesville situation took place, it was nonstop, wall-to-wall, carpet coverage, 24/7 on every single network, including the full of excrement network. And it was full of everything. Every left-wing website in America was covering it, calling Trump a racist, calling him a white supremacist, calling every MAGA supporter a white supremacist. But a Jewish man gets killed tonight out of a hate crime by a Palestinian just because he was Jewish. And the media and many of these same anti-Semites are totally silent. I want to ask these people, is that fake too? Did Israel fake his death tonight? Did they stage that death? I'm sure there'll be some moron out there posting that crap tomorrow that, no, that's just a movie. That was an actor that was laying down on the ground with his head bleeding from a hit in the head by this Palestinian hater of Jews. I can see it now. Of course, a little fired up on a Monday night. Folks, this is the America that we're living in right now. This is the state of affairs in America. Josh Hawley deserves the Nobel Peace Prize to me. Josh Hawley nailed Mayorkas to the wall, and Mayorkas did not have an answer for him because Mayorkas knew he had his backside and his scrotum sack being handed to him by a senator that had the balls finally to ask the questions we all should be asking. Are they in our government, folks? And the answer to that is yes. The answer to that is yes. The answer to that is yes. Yes, yes, they are. Now, I have got a dear friend that is going to come on with me because we got some other things to talk about. Let me get him on the phone with me here, and I want him to come on because we're going to talk about this. Dan Glovac.
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
I'm good, buddy. Listen, you were on live. I meant to give you a heads up that I would call you and have you on the phone, but you're live already. It's good to see you, buddy. How you been?
Old. I'm in my 60s now.
Okay, well, I'm in my 50s. I'll be another year old. I'm just behind you, though. Don't feel bad. Hey, man, listen, I'm grateful that you stayed up late to talk with me tonight, and it's been such a long time since we've had you on, and we're going to get you on a Zoom call very soon, a regular interview, but I did want to bring you on tonight. I wanted to get your take on what's going on with the situation in Israel, America tonight, but also this situation that's coming out of Nashville tonight. We're going to talk about a little bit with our audience. The manifesto came out of this and I won't repeat what you said to me because this is a family show tonight, but I'll agree with your sentiment of what you said about it. But Dan, it's got to disturb you, don't it, that you've got a killer that went to this school and basically shot it up, and they are in her manifesto. I don't know what it was, a man or a woman or whatever. It was something, but it was clear that they were targeting white Christian crackers. That's what she said. And that's what the wording was. Basically, racist as can be. The media is shutting this down. I even read tonight that the Nashville mayor, he's trying to get a handle on this, and he's going after the people that released the manifesto. He don't even want to hear the truth. He's upset that the manifesto came out, not the deaths.
Well, that's that is counterproductive to their narrative. The truth is counterproductive to their narrative, which they're trying to create, which is white Christians are the number one terrorist threat in the United States, and we have to clamp down on them. Never mind the cartels or the Hamas or whatever. It's just the white Christians that complain about their kids being taught that penectomies are a good thing, and Johnny is Jill if he wants to be.
Yes. Well, help me here. Was that a man posing as a woman or a woman posing as a man that did this? You remember?
My understanding is it was a girl that wanted to be a boy.
Okay.
And so it's a like I said, you can call it if you wanted to hybrid the she in front of it, then you put it after it. Then you get the right description.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. That's an as I said, I agreed with you. I won't repeat I won't repeat the word that makes, but I'm with you 1,000% there. No, you're right, man. Because look, but again, the manifesto was look. We lost Dan. Hang on just a second. Is he? Well, he's going to FaceTime with me. Here we go.
On the video phone.
There we go. Well, I tell you what. Well, I'm going to turn the phone. Hang on. Let me get Dan back on the phone. We accidentally lost contact with him there. Hang on. We lost you.
Yep.
I'm sorry about that, buddy. We lost you for a minute, but we got you back on audio. But Dan, the thing is that is it not just flabbergasting to you that the Nashville mayor tonight is more upset about the manifesto coming out than he is the killing? Is that insane to you?
It's flabbergasting in a way, but at the same time, it's par for the course. You know, I expect this from them now. I mean, because you can just expect from the left, you can expect nonsensical, ridiculous posturing on everything. I mean, they're obviously they're out to destroy our culture. They're out to demonize Christians, especially white Christians. And so, yeah, I mean, he's just, you know, he's probably taking orders. Most, you know, here's the problem, Chris, is campaigns are expensive and the devil is rich. And these politicians, whether they're mayors or senators or congressmen, or as you see the president, you know, they all are really yes men. You know, they get money to get elected, and then they have to follow through with what the mega donors want. And there are a number of mega donors, globalist type, leftist mega donors that are creating a narrative that's purposefully destructive to the United States and our traditional culture, because they view that as something that is not cohesive with their idea for how they want the new world, the Great Reset, and the Build Back Better, all that nonsense is going to be.
Have you, I hadn't had a chance to talk with you about this, but we'll talk about it more when we get you on the regular show sometime soon, Dan. What has been your thoughts to see this explosion? Dan, I've never seen the rise of anti-Semitism in my life that has exploded on the scene of this country, and we're going to talk about it here after we let you go. But, you know, we had 100,000 people marching on the mall in D.C. this weekend for the Palestinian, but it was not just a pro-Palestinian march. There was a concerted sentiment in that march for the extermination, the complete extermination of Jews on the earth, and the extermination and the end, the destruction of the nation of Israel. Dan, that's not a march for freedom, or that's not a march for better conditions in Gaza or a better condition, a better life for the Palestinian people. That was an anti-Semitic, hateful march. And I would dare say, Dan, and I said this yesterday on my faith program, I guarantee you there were Christians in that crowd. Somewhere in that crowd of 100,000, I guarantee you there were people that called themselves believers, that was marching hand in hand with these terrorists that were butchering babies, cutting heads off, raping women, burning cities down. And then you've got this other nonsense bullshit crowd that's got a Q meth pill instilled in their head, and they believe that none of this is real. They believe it's a movie. And I asked a question before you came on. I guess this 65-year-old man that got beat to death basically tonight by a Palestinian hater of Jews, that there'll be some idiot out there tonight that will claim that that was fake too, that Israel, that's a fake story too. But on the anti-Semitic part, buddy, and for those of you that don't know, Dan Globeck, he's an angel dad. And what I mean by that, he lost his son to an illegal alien here several years ago, and Dan's been a good friend of mine, and he's a good friend of the show. We hadn't had him on as much, not because of him, it's just our schedule, but he's a dear buddy, and I've met him in person. And but Dan, as you look at this landscape, buddy, you got to question the soul of our country, man. This is soulish stuff, man. This is about the moral clarity of good and evil, is it not?
Yeah, and you know, my take on all of this, and I've actually watched this thing. I've been glued to the internet watching this thing and unfold in Gaza and Israel, and I have some pretty strong opinions about that. I come from Texas, and I'm an old Texas boy, and we're real big on the Second Amendment here. And the Second Amendment is, I've always said, it's not something that gives you a right to keep in. It recognizes your unalienable right to defend yourself. And the thing that disturbs me the most about this, Chris, is how those Israelis had to just sit there, these Hamas holes that came in and just, had their way with them.
Yeah.
Those people need to have the appropriate defense tools that will get the job done, so they never have to endure something like that again.
Right.
Because it's mattered. The IDF was on. That's the way it was with my son. When seconds mattered, the police were only. You have to be able to, in this world, especially if you live in a dangerous neighborhood like Israel or the United States. The fact of the matter is a lot of there's a good percentage of the time to where the only person that can be your security is you.
That's right, buddy.
And I did a little bit of research on the gun restriction laws in Israel, and I think that it is a disservice to the Israeli citizens, those Jews over there, because as it was on October 7th, you had to jump through hoops to get just one single sidearm with a 50-round limit. Now, this resulted in a long waiting time, and only 2% of the Israeli civilian population were armed. And I'm thinking, man, you're living out in these kibbutz, and you're living in this neighborhood next to a bunch of people that want to kill you.
Very true.
And had they had the type of self-defense tools we can have here in Texas, I guarantee you those paragliders could have been turned into a turkey shoot.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, I'll even venture to say that I doubt that Hamas would have even tried or carried out that operation, that bloody operation that they did, had they known that the Israelis would have been well-armed, trained,
good point,
situationally aware, and ready for prime time. Because what they knew is because of the gun laws, that they had soft-sitting targets. There was one kibbutz that was spared, and I don't know if you read about this, but the one kibbutz that was spared, a small volunteer force, defense force of reservists that were allowed to keep their rifles. And the Hamas dead in their. That's what you need. There's certain, especially in a situation like that in Israel, and when you're right next to the border of Gaza, a sidearm is something you use to fend off your enemy when you're trying to get to your long gun, your rifle, your high capacity rifle. That's what they needed, and it's just horrible that they just had to sit there in their houses, hearing gunshot, and nothing they could do. They just had to hide, or they had to run, and this could have gone down a completely different way than it did, and it's heartbreaking.
Do you believe that something like that is coming here? Do you think that we're in danger of seeing that same kind of attack here?
I think in a place like Texas, like in my area, Tomball, everybody's so armed, and most of us are pretty trained, and we're pretty. I don't think you could do what Hamas did, but I think that there are certain things, obviously, that being armed with a firearm or a EDC aren't going to really cover, like dirty bombs or. I expect there probably will be grid attacks and things like that. I think that because of our open southern border, which is what I think we should be focused the most on, before we focus on anybody else's border, we better start focusing on our own border.
Good point, Dan. No, I'm with you there, buddy.
Because if we don't, Chris, if we don't get this border under control, nothing we do overseas is going to matter. Nothing. Because let me tell you, I'm down here in South Texas, brother, and it was bad 9 years ago when my son was murdered by a 4-time deported illegal alien, just randomly had his brains blown out at a red light.
Yep.
But it's bad now. I mean, since Biden, Captain Crap His Pants, and the White House got in, he has Border Patrol, they call them OTMs, other than Mexicans. It's not Mexicans. It's from Yemen and Iran and Saudi Arabia. Every square inch of that in the Middle East region of people that don't like us are flooding in here, and I guarantee you they're setting up sleeper cells, and they're just waiting for Allah's dog whistle to blow. Because, I mean, why would they not, take advantage of our open border and our suicidal legal immigration laws?
That's very true. That's very true, Dan. Let me ask you this, buddy. We got a few minutes. And again, we'll have you on for a longer interview at a later time very soon, because I want to get your thoughts on several other things. You really rocked the house last time you was with us. I remember the interview well, and it was tremendous. And my grievance and my concern and my anger over this thing in Israel, and look, my heart is grieved, Dan, for the loss of life in Israel. I'm not going to say that I'm not grieved over the loss of the life in Palestine, if you're going to call it that. I don't even look at it as Palestine. It's a fake name. We're going to have a guy on tomorrow night, John McTurnan, who is a great source for this, and I don't want to get into the ins and outs of that tonight, but I will say this. Every drop of blood that's being spilt in Gaza tonight, I don't hold at Israel's door. I hold it at Hamas's. They're the ones that did this. But what has bothered me, Dan, has been the attitude of American citizens, and really not just Americans, but everybody worldwide, that has it's like they have been struck with a poisonous snake that has bit them, and it's called the devil, to be honest with you. It's really the hiss of the serpent, Satan, that they have convinced themselves, or in this drug-induced state they're in, and then they convince others that Israel is the enemy here, not the ones that perpetrated the violence on Israel. And this anti-Semitism has just blowed me away, and it's not coming even from total leftists, Dan. It's coming from people that call themselves Christian. I don't see how you can be one. I don't see how you can call yourself a Christian and not support the people of God. I just don't. And I'm going to tell you something. I will sit here and debate that with anybody. I will stand up and defend the Jewish people. I'm not worshiping the geopolitical state, but I know in this situation of what's right and wrong, and in any conflict, it was the perpetrators were Hamas, not Israel. But our government even does not have the moral clarity to define Hamas as a terrorist group. They do not have the moral clarity to tell Israel to go do what you got to do, that our hands are off of this, you go do what you got to do. We're always warning Israel about the civilian casualties, Dan, but we're not condemning Hamas for the civilian casualties they took. And this country is on a collision course with God if it don't turn a course. And these anti-Semites that are listening to me tonight probably and spewing their venom at me through that screen, they're going to stand before God too one day and give an account for this hatred that they have perpetrated in their heart toward God's people. And again, I'm not here to argue the Bible with anybody tonight. That's not the show for it. But just the very fact that we cannot see the moral compass and have not a moral clarity of what's good and evil here, it concerns me, brother. And to have 100,000 people marching in our capital saying death to Israel, F the Jews, gas the Jews, millions, Dan. They're talking Holocaust talk, bro, that led to the death of 6 million Jews in gas camps. What say you, man, as we wrap it up with you?
Well, again, it doesn't matter whether it's Hamas or cartels, rattlesnakes, okay? A rattlesnake is what it is.
It's a great point. That's a great point.
And for me, it's a waste of time spending too much time. They are, and how dangerous they are. What you need to do is spend time preparing yourself to not be, a sitting soft target duck to these people, because they want to kill you. And I would say to the Jewish population in this country that swings left at voting time, when they vote for Democrats, you might want to think about that, because what are you voting for? The Democrats are the party that insist on all this massive third world immigration, and most of it, a lot of it, you have coming from that region of the world where they hate Jews. So you don't want to bring a bunch of people in here that hate Jews or Christians. That's just suicide. It's stupid. So you're going to have to change those voting patterns. You're going to have to understand that you have an alienable right to defend yourself. The government doesn't care about you to begin with. And so you need to do what you need to do to defend yourself and your family. And you need to quit. If you're voting for Joe Biden or these gun grabbers or these people that are so big on open borders and mass, third world immigration into the United States, you need to rethink that, because it's not in your favor. And I'm not saying this I'm saying this out of love.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dan. Look, buddy, I'm with you 1,000,000%. I am. I really am.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you a question, a couple other quick fire questions. You got to give me a quick answer on these. When you see what's happening to President Trump in the courts, and you see what's going on with the nation politically, where do you see us? I know you can't, this is just an opinion question, but where do you see the country a year from tonight, man? You know, we vote a year from tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, we're within a year of elections. Where do you see us a year from now?
Chris, I don't know.
I don't either.
There's so many variables at play here. I mean, we are on the precipice of possibly World War III. I mean, this thing in the Middle East, it could light a bigger fire.
I'm with you.
But you think the body count's bad now, and I don't want a bunch of dead Jews, and I don't want a bunch of dead Arabs either. I want everybody to live long enough to accept Jesus Christ as their personal Savior and go to heaven.
Amen, buddy. Amen.
That's what I want. That's what I want for Jews. That's what I want for Muslims and any unsaved people. And as long as they're being killed in wars and they were being destroyed in wars, then you got a lot of lost people dying without Christ. So as a Christian, you talk about you hear this old Genesis 12:3. I'll bless those who bless you and curse those that curse you. Well, let me tell you, there's no greater blessing that you can give to anybody, Jewish or anybody else, than to tell them about their Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ, the Great Commission.
Absolutely, buddy. That's great
and
stuff.
And that's
man.
What we need to be doing. That's what Christians have a great commission, and that is to spread the good news of the gospel. And that's, Jesus said, no man comes to the Father except through me. And that means no man.
That's right, buddy. That's right.
And if you love those Jews over there, if you love the Jewish people here, the best way you can bless them is tell them first, before you do anything else about real estate or anything else, you need to, the gospel, Chris, is a very offensive message. It is. It got Jesus crucified. It got all but one of his disciples executed. It makes people mad when you tell them, hey, your religion and your good works aren't make you presentable in the presence of a holy God.
Right.
You need a Savior. You need the blood of Jesus.
And we all do. Dan, that's exactly right.
That's
what
is the message. We
message.
Need to be. I mean, I understand, on the geopolitical side, but I still think that's secondary to, man, I want those Jews to get saved.
All of us do. And Dan, I want the Gentiles to get saved, because it's actually for both. Hey, man, listen, I wish we had more time tonight, but I wanted to get you on to get a few thoughts on these things. Listen, hang loose next week. We're going to get you back on for a video Zoom call with you, okay? And it is so
Anytime,
good.
Man.
It's so good to hear from you tonight. And look,
you're doing a great job out there, Chris. I love you, brother.
Love you too, Dan. We'll see you soon, my friend. Take care,
Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dan Glovac, everybody. That's an angel dad right there. And he is such a precious brother. He's a dear friend of the show. And we are grateful that he had stayed up with us a little bit tonight to come on and share his thoughts. And I'm with him, folks. Look, the greatest message, the greatest thing we can do for the Jewish people, folks, is tell them about Jesus. But it's not just the Jewish people tonight. It's the Gentiles. It's all of us, folks. The greatest thing we can do for this world is tell people about Jesus, because both Jew and Gentile are going to stand before the Lord one day and give an account for their souls. And that's all of us, folks. There ain't going to be no respecter of persons. There is a special call of God on this nation, though, of Israel. There just is. And we've been talking about this on Sunday. We didn't quite get to what we wanted to yesterday, but We're going to be on this subject for many, many weeks, as we probably will carry it through the end of the year on this subject. And Wednesday night we'll be dealing with the land, Lord willing. If we're on Wednesday night, we're going to be at a special church Wednesday night. I'm not going to be possibly here back in time to do it, but when we get back on Wednesday, we're going to be dealing with the land. We're going to talk about this relationship between the Jew and the Gentile and the church in Israel for several weeks. I guess I'm just a little wired up, and my voice, I get just sick of seeing the post I'm seeing regarding the Jewish people. I do want to post a couple of things tonight and show you something. This is let me come over here. I'm gonna bring this up. This is the crowd. I won't change screens. I'll just play it right here. But this is the crowd that was from Saturday. I want you to look at this, folks. This was just a few days ago. And you can see the thing, pro-ceasefire protesters demonstrate near some in front of the White House. Some of these folks were painting the White House red. Here is it's the independent news service. They give a report on this. I'll turn on the volume here. Watch this right here.
And he is a member of the Palestinian youth movement.
Folks, that is unbelievable that many people came out to call for the destruction of Israel and support terrorism. That mall, I've been on that ground right there, and that is, I've never seen anything like that. Trump rallies didn't bring that. I mean, I'm telling you something. This was a serious situation. Here's another one that they put out. I think maybe the same video, but it's. You can hear Free, Free Palestine. This was Saturday. Of course, they got a mask on. That should tell you a lot of what kind of people you're dealing with here. He's saying something to Allah. That's outside the White House. They were painting the White House gate red. Watch the video. There's about 3 more minutes to this. Watch this. State of Israel does not something. There's anti-Israel. I want to stop that video right there. Do you see that sign? It says, "End the Palestinian Holocaust." Folks, there's been no Palestinian Holocaust. There's been no Palestinian Holocaust. That's a complete lie right there. I just want to tell all of you tonight, point blank, in your face, folks, there is nothing but, that's a lie right there. There is no Palestinian Holocaust, and anybody that posts something to that effect is a damnable liar. They are a damnable liar. They're spiritually ignorant. They are foolishly ignorant. They're spewing anti-Jewish hate is when they're doing it. Because what they're saying to you folks, again, they are twisting history to fit a narrative to justify the extermination of Israel. These people were not just marching to support Palestinian people. This had nothing to do with it. They want Israel. Even Mayorkas, when you heard that term, free Palestine from the river to the sea, it is a vision of the Palestinian people, folks, and I don't care. You can say, well, that's not true. It's just the vision of Hamas and Hezbollah and all these terrorist groups. No, it is the vision of the Palestinian people. They don't want peace, folks. They want their land without Israel on it. And that land does not belong to them. That land don't even belong to Israel tonight, folks. That land belongs to God. And in his sovereignty, he has granted that land to the people of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not Abraham, Ishmael, and Esau. I want to say it again. He has granted that land grant to the people of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not to Abraham, Ishmael, and Esau, whom these people are representatives of. There is no Palestinian Holocaust. You've got the same people, I guarantee you, that would post something like this on their timeline that would try to deny that there was a Jewish Holocaust, because there was a true Jewish Holocaust back in the 1930s. And that, too, I feel like we have to draw in crowns sometimes to these Holocaust deniers. And the insinuation, and folks, the way I look at it, the October 7th deniers that deny that what Israel went through was true, and that Israel's making it up, and that Israel's lying about it, and manipulating this story, and lying about the baby beheadings, and lying about the baby burnings, that the baby burning in the oven, folks, did not come from a left-wing, right, zealous website of Israel. It came from the IDF. That came from the Israeli government. Now, if you don't want to believe the Israeli government, as many don't, as many would rather believe somebody that would post something like this and believe this group tonight, and they would believe the people behind this movement more than they would believe Israel, I can't help that, because liberalism and that kind of disease is a mental disorder. And I cannot help mentally disordered and mentally deranged people that, again, have been smoking spiritual meth and smoking Q meth and smoking a lot of other stuff that they probably need to get off of tonight, because it's already damaged their brains. And I'm a little up in sarcasm tonight. My sarcasm level's a little high. But it's a late night McFiles, so we can get a little real with you at this hour of the night and this time of the morning, because we frankly don't care at this time of the night how it's coming out and how it's sounding out there, because listen, this stuff burns me to the crisp. Because there is no Palestinian Holocaust, folks. There's no Palestinian Holocaust. Israel is not an apartheid state. Let me disclaim and disband and cut the dragon in pieces of the lies that are going on. I know networks, religious networks, they claim they are at least, that believe that kind of stuff right there, because they promote it through their programming. They promote it through what they post on Facebook. They promote it what they post on Telegram. And then you've got other cowards out there that will not post anything pro-Israel, but they'll post something pro-Palestinian. They won't come out and say Israel's a bad guy, but they sure won't put support. Let me tell you where we stand on this tonight. We stand firmly on the side of the Israelis in this tonight, folks. And I'm going to stand with them, not because, again, I'm worshiping the geopolitical state, folks, but I'm standing with them in this situation. I'm speaking politically right now, not spiritually even. I'm speaking politically because I know even the political situation favors the truth of the fact that Israel is the rightful owner of that land, and she's always been the rightful owner of that land. She's never displaced the Palestinians, and there's never been a Palestinian Holocaust. The only people that have taken Palestinian lives, folks, has been the very terrorists over which the Palestinians put themselves under the leadership of in 2007 by the time that they elected Hamas to replace the Palestinian Authority. They have brought this judgment on them by the violence of their leaders and the terrorist acts of their leaders. And if you live by the sword, let me remind you tonight that you will die by the sword. I want to say this again to the Arab world tonight. You have a God in heaven that supremely loves you, but you've also got a God in heaven that is going to remind you, it's trying to remind you through this host, that if you live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword. If you live by blood, you're going to die by the blood that you're shedding of others. That blood's going to be shed on you. You understand? Some of you don't. And there's many Americans that don't. And there's a lot of Christians that don't understand that principle. They've brought this on themselves, folks. They've brought this on themselves. If the Palestinians wanted peace tonight, there'd be peace in the Middle East. If Israel wanted to destroy the Palestinian Authority and cause a Holocaust, the Palestinians would be gone in 15 seconds. That's how much power Israel's got to wield if they wanted to do that. But they don't. That's a lie. Roll the tape. Roll the tape. Some of these people don't even know what that means. They don't even know where Palestine's at. This is from just 2 days ago, folks, in your capital, in the nation's capital. Zionism is fascism. We're going to talk about Zionism tomorrow night. You don't want to miss the McFiles Tuesday night with John McTurnan. We're going to talk about it. So you anti-Semites, write it on your calendar and join us tomorrow night. We got a history lesson for you. And we'll even bring a color crown book and write it in crown for you, being that that's the level that you understand things in. I want you to look at that sign back there. Stop U.S. funding of Israeli apartheid. Stop the U.S. imperialist war. Right there. Folks, every bit of this that you're watching are lies. They're lies. They're lies. And you say, well, how can you be so sure, Chris? Chris can be sure, folks. Chris is 1,000,000% sure. I'm 1,000,000% sure to say it with a straight face, in your face. That's lies. It's lies. You hearing that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Occupation no more. There is no occupation, folks. There is no occupation. I want you to read that sign. When you have hundreds of prophets or protests just to tell the world that bombing children is okay, that is when you know humanity failed something, and it's got Save Palestine. Folks, there's nothing in that protest that mentions the thousands, the 1,500 to 2,000 deaths of Israeli children, women, men, and babies. But they're claiming that the bombing of the children of Gaza is on Israel. Folks, Israel's tried to get the people out of the way. It's been Hamas that has stuck the children in harm's way to be bombed. To be bombed. To be bombed. Lies. 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 Colonizers out of D.C. Zionism is fascism. Let me stop it right there. Let's go at another 53 seconds of this. This is all from Saturday, folks. I want to play this whole thing. This is all from Saturday, right in the heart of downtown D.C. By the way, there are people in jail tonight up to 5 years for throwing a few rocks at the Capitol. These people were defacing the White House itself. I did not see any insurrection charges being filed. I haven't seen the media call for an insurrection charge one yet. I haven't seen Ron Rivera, the head stupid moronic football coach of the Washington Commanders, that basically fined his defensive coordinator, Jack Del Rio, for simply asking a question of why the J6ers were being treated a certain way instead of the real terrorists and Black Lives Matter and Antifa, got fined him because Ron Rivera claimed, well, the J6 stuff was a threat to our democracy. I wonder where Ron Rivera was at Saturday when all this was going on. Mr. Rivera, your team sucks, by the way, but where were you raising hell about this? Just asking. I hope you go 0-20. Roll the tape. Listen to what they're saying. Jews, Jews, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. They're accusing the Jews of genocide, calling for the genocide of the Jews, folks. That's in the good old U.S. of A. That's being done tonight, folks. That's not in the halls of Nazi Germany. That's being done in downtown Washington, D.C. And again, I wonder if you got a real good look at this crowd, how many American believers or people that so-called called themselves that, and Christians were in this crowd Saturday. I wonder how many applauded this group. I wonder how many posted this and said they were really telling the truth, this pro-Palestinian march. Those Zionists are so evil, and I wonder how many was posting that. 17 more seconds. There is no genocide in Gaza tonight, folks. That's what happened Saturday, and I wanted to play that. It was about 5 minutes. So anyway, let me play you a couple of other things that is going on in your land tonight, and I didn't get to everything I wanted to get to, but we're about to open the questions up. By the way, you've got people in the local Washington, D.C. government that was busy this week, and I got to give you a language warning on this one. The person that gets caught taking these posters down. Before I do that one, I want to show you something. These are two little girls that are hostages tonight of these peace-loving Hamas terrorists. They're hostages in Gaza tonight. They've not been released, and their parents released this video. This is about, how long is this? This is 26 seconds. Two beautiful darlings, folks. They're not with their parents tonight, folks. They were kidnapped from their homes by these Hamas peace-loving citizens. Saturday on October the 7th, basically 3 weeks ago tonight, almost a month ago tonight, it should say. It's tonight's the 7th. Today's the 7th, so it's actually a month ago today. Here is the two babies. That's the two darlings. That's a little heart that she's putting in there for each other. I want to ask Stu Peter something tonight. Stu Stupid. Do you think that's being made up? Do you think that mom and daddy put that video out there to make that up? They're lying about that. Stu. And all you other anti-Semitic liars. You think that's being made up? No, those little girls ain't in that bed tonight, folks. They're in Gaza somewhere, and God knows what's happening to them. They were taken from their homes by these butchers of Hamas. These peace-loving Palestinian citizens that are under such duress tonight that they've got to kidnap two 5-year-olds out of a Jewish home. And then you've got this going on in the D.C. government tonight. Here is an official. I think she's part of the Washington Public Defender's Office. Language alert. You're going to hear a few bombs here. I'm warning you. So if you got virgin ears, just cover your ears. But I want you to listen to what's going on here. They don't like too much them being filmed doing what they were doing. Roll the tape.
So why are you taking that down for?
Because it doesn't need to be there. Please don't film it.
You're taking down the sign for a vigil.
Fuck off. Please don't film me, please.
So this is in Montclair. The sign. She just took it off.
Dude, I don't want to be on the internet. Please don't film me.
All right, she don't want to be on the internet, but she sure as you know what don't want there to be posters in D.C. for the families wanting their loved ones to come back from Hamas or Gaza. But I don't want to be on the internet. Please don't film me and blank off.
I'm asking you to go away, please.
Why'd you take it off for?
Because it doesn't need to be there. Thank
Why?
you. You can go away now, please.
Why are you taking it off for? You took it off? You're proud about taking it off? Why'd you take it off for?
Please
I'm
go
not going
away.
anywhere until you answer my question.
Please go away.
So why'd you take the sign off? It's right here. There's no
She's got it
reason
wadded
to
up in her
take
chair
it
there.
off.
You see
It doesn't
that?
bother you.
Washington Public Defender's
Why are you taking the
Office.
sign off for?
Please go away.
What was your issue with the sign?
I don't want to talk to you. I would like you to go away, please.
They
You
never
have a
do.
problem with people who are abducted by Hamas?
Dude, fuck off.
I need you to go away, please.
I'm just asking you why you took it
I
I've
don't
off.
want
asked
you to
you
be
several
filming me. I've
times
asked
to
you
go
leave.
away.
Please
I'm
go
not
So
away.
go the fuck away.
I'm
Please
not
go
going away.
We have asked you several times, very politely, to go away.
Doesn't
So
matter.
leave.
It's not polite to take down the sign.
It's not polite to stand here and film us when we're asking you not to. So fuck off.
I'm not going to.
Please leave us alone.
So why'd you take it off for?
You're not gonna go away? We told you you're not gonna go away. We don't tell you. Fuck off.
Why'd you take off the sign?
You're acting like a child. We're asking you to leave. I
Wow.
don't want to talk to you.
Wow, he's acting like a child, but they're taking posters down of babies and family members that have been kidnapped, and it shouldn't be there, as they say. But the one that's, and there has been a lot of this, folks, in the country. And again, pardon the language, we can't control what these people say on camera. But there's been a lot of this, people standing up to people just like this. Just like this. It's going on all over the country. Here's another one. That may not have been the public defender. Maybe this one is. Here's another one. This is D.C. as well, just in the last couple of days. Yes, this is the public defender.
Why are you taking down pictures of missing children? Why are you taking down pictures of missing children? Why are you taking down pictures of missing children? Why are you taking down pictures of babies?
She had no answer. That's the public defender loser. Just ripping him down.
Why are you taking down pictures of missing children? Why are you taking down pictures of missing children? Why are you taking down pictures of missing children? Why are you taking down pictures of babies?
She had no answer. They never do. Those two didn't. I don't want to play the rest of it. You get the idea. You get the drift. They all just, basically the next 3 minutes, you heard a lot of F-bombs being dropped. F-U, 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 F-U. Here's another one. I don't know if this is the video. This ain't the video, but this is a New York City woman that was wearing glasses caught tearing down photos of missing civilians kidnapped by Hamas, identified as leftist activist Frances McCallabam Hamad. She has worked in the New York City Council and the New York State Assembly as a student at Hunter College. And she, too, was going around New York City today doing the same thing. That's by Andy and Joe, his Twitter handle tonight, and others. And this is, I think, another one. And again, there's tons of these folks. And the reason I'm doing this is there's a reason. New York City, we're horrified to see, this is Megan Kelly, and Megan pointed this out. This was just 3 hours ago. She says, we are horrified to see physician's assistant Miriam Allegheny with the New York City Health System share a graphic on Instagram portraying a Jew depicted as an animal eating a baby with what appears to be a Palestinian child watching from the side. Folks, this is the anti-Semitism that is raging in America. Now, this is not, again, a bunch of junkies on meth that's doing this. It ain't a bunch of right-wing KKK, white-ring supremacists, Nazi types. This is mainstream people. You've got somebody from a public defender's office, New York City Council, New York City Health Department. I don't know who the other two girls were. They were not from the public defender's office, but they were definitely wired up using the F-bomb. But my point in showing that is that this is ingrained in our society's highest level. Mayorkas has somebody in his government, in the Homeland Security, that is boasting the same kind of stuff, basically. Now, he's got her on administrative leave, where he should have fired her immediately. And I would be looking at her policies of immigration, too. Josh Hawley, he picked it up. He nailed it, folks. it's important to know what she was doing with the policy of immigration, whether she was letting these people into the country illegally and then stopping Jewish immigration from those that were probably fleeing the growing tensions in Europe tonight. Folks, this is a repeat of the Holocaust. Now, I don't have time to get into the Holocaust thing tonight, but I want to say this. For this to make any sense to you, for this to be important to you, you would have to believe there was a Holocaust. This show does. This show understands history. We understand what took place in 1938 to 1945 was real. It was not concocted by the Jews. There have been some of the most vilest, ugly, anti-Semitic rants regarding the Holocaust. The very thing that I'm seeing tonight in the denial of October the 7th is the same spirit behind the denial of those that don't believe that there were 6 million Jews killed in the Holocaust. Totally same. Totally same. I mentioned a few weeks ago that the perpetuation of the violence on Israel, folks, is coming home to America. I'm going to take about 2 other things, and we're going to open it up for your questions tonight. I hope you're enjoying this late night show. We're almost done. By the way, this is what I was telling Dan about, and I hadn't got to everything I want to get to tonight, but I do want to mention this. This is the Nashville, the lovely Nashville mayor. He looks like a winner, don't he? Democrat mayor, outraged, not at the killing, but he was outraged that the trans mass shooter's manifesto was showed to be a leftist racist who wanted to murder, quote, privileged white crackers, Christians. Orders the city legal team to investigate how that manifesto got out in the public. Not to investigate and not to get to the bottom of why the killer did what they did. And again, folks, it was a transgender. Dan said it was a man or a girl wanting to transition to a man, and it was nothing but hate. He went to that Christian school, shot it up. The little girl got killed. I don't know how many exactly got killed, but there were multiple. It was a mass shooting. But this piece of you-know-what wants to be more outraged about why the manifesto got on there that basically destroys every narrative of the left concerning mass killers, transgenders, and violence in our nation. Interesting. Very interesting. Not in a good way. But let me just, got a tweet here I wanted to show you because it basically summed it up the best. Where is that tweet? If you'll give me 1 minute, I've got it here. It was really well said. Give me 1 minute here. I've got it here. Oh, here it is right here. I thought it was that. Hang on just 1 second, folks. I had it, and I hope I didn't delete it. I'll find it. If we have to play it tomorrow night, we'll play it. But there was a summary of really what the manifesto said. We're gonna revisit this. We're gonna revisit this this week. We're not done with this. By the way, I want to play this video right here. I'm going to come back over here to scene 4. And we're not going to play Josh's video, but I want you to watch this real quick, and then we're going to take your questions. I hadn't finished tonight, but it's getting late, and I want to take your questions. Watch this. Good stuff.
Start with a virus, imported into America. Talk about it nonstop. Call some governors. Nod them. That's your guys. Put patients into nursing homes. Kill thousands. Blame the president. Keep blaming. Blame some more. Lock down small business. Kill the economy. Push mail-in voting. Stoke a race war. Call for riots. Pick a candidate. No, not her. Yeah, that's more like it. Lock him in his basement. Shield him from the press. Don't cover this. Don't cover this. Don't cover this. Keep doing that. Ignore the economic recovery. Downplay the world peace. Pump the pulse. Pump. Don't stop pumping. Install your software in swing states. That was fast. Take control of polling stations. Call off the election when you're losing. Kick everyone out. Pull out all the extra ballots. Get the software to do its thing. Get the media to say it's over. Call the big tech guys. Ban anyone who notices. Act like the whole thing never happened. Stealing the most powerful republic in the world. It's It's that easy.
Now, being that I'm not sure whether this will still get me whacked, I'm not going to respond to that. I'm just going to say, let the video speak for itself. How about that? We'll let the video speak for itself. A few other things, and then we're going to take your questions. If you're still up with me tonight, it looks like most people are. We're grateful that you are. We are grateful that you are. By the way, this happened Friday too, I believe. The United Nations, folks, the worthless United Nations, just voted on an amendment to condemn the October 7th terrorist attack on Israel by Hamas. It failed to get a two-thirds majority to pass, with 55 countries voting against and 23 abstentions. Basically, 78 ambassadors said no, and they even applauded when it failed. You got to love the UN. You got to love the UN. That was last week. I think this is it right here. This is the poll we had given about The Guardian in 2020. 63% are unaware. 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust. 23% said the Holocaust is a myth. 12% said they've definitely not even heard of the Holocaust. And 11% says the Jews caused the Holocaust. That's your education system at work in this country, folks. That was an 18 to 39-year-old shocking poll in 2020 by The Guardian. I do not stand shocked by that. I don't stand shocked by that whatsoever. And I wish I could find that. By the way, this is Rashida Tlaib's tweet, and we're going to, this was just 2 days ago. Today's the 7th now, the 3rd of November. Over the weekend, from the river to the sea is an aspirational call for freedom, she says, human rights, and peaceful. Peaceful coexistence. Not death, destruction, or hate. My work as advocacy is always centered on justice and dignity for people, no matter faith or ethnicity. By the way, she was marching with the butchers of Hamas and telling Joe Biden, we're going to remember you in 2024. I had somebody tell me this, folks, and I don't doubt this. Joe Biden needs Dearborn, Michigan. If you want to know why we've not totally condemned Hamas for this terrorist act as a government, we've not really come out and said that Hamas is a terrorist group, and we're not fully supporting Israel, we're sort of hem-hawing in the middle. Joe can't have it both ways. Because if he goes all in on Israel, he can kiss the Muslim boat goodbye. If he basically starts condemning Israel, then I think he's already kissed the Jewish vote goodbye too. It's politics, folks. It's ugly, because to me, lives are more important than politics. The lives of these babies that were killed in Israel are more important than politics. But that's not how it's seen. By the way, here is the gentleman that was killed. There he is right there. He later died of those injuries. He's moving in that picture. I want to play that again. He later died of those injuries. Right there. He moved his hand. He was hit in the head. He died of an internal bleed of his brain. He was hit in the head with a Palestinian. I'm sure they've arrested the guy. I think they have. He was killed tonight. There's nothing in the media hardly about this. The media's blacked that out. You're not hearing a thing about it tonight. You're not hearing a thing about it. You're not hearing a thing about it. I don't have time to get into President Trump's trials, but this New York judge is a pathetic disgrace. I'm going to get Judge Sherilyn Allen on us on this and talk about that with her soon. And anyway, I will pick up the Nashville situation again later this week. I had another tweet I wanted to show. This is the headline: Jewish man reportedly murdered by pro-Palestinian protester who hit him with a megaphone. That's how he got hit. There he is right there, and he's dead tonight. He is dead. He was murdered. It's a hate crime. It won't be tried as such, but it should be. It should be. It should be. Very sad. Very, very, very sad. Alrighty. Now, that's all I got tonight. I won't. Let me see. One other thing here. I'm not sure what this is. This is a update. This is from a few days ago last week. A lot of this because we didn't have Friday night show. This is another anti-Semitic thing. This is another person in the health industry. Dr. Mahob Abaraba has been terminated from Beaumont Hospital in Dearborn, Michigan on October the 7th as a response to the massacre in Israel. Ms. Abaraba couldn't contain her pleasure posting characters from the musical Oklahoma with a note, "Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. If you know, you know." And she's the medical director of the Karen Wilson Smith Bauer Comprehensive Center for Breast Care at Beaumont Hospital in Dearborn. Folks, again, this stuff is not just on the fringe. This is in the mainstream of your society and mine tonight. Very, very troubling. All right, we're going to open up. We're opening up the chat. Hey, Leslie Milwee is in the house. Good to see you tonight, my dear. It is good to see you tonight. It is so good to see you. Good to see a friendly face these days. And we're grateful that you're here tonight. If you've got a question or comment, folks, you can put it in the house now. We're right at going on an hour or so. We're going to be up with you a little bit more. We've been going an hour and 20 minutes. We hope that you have been with us tonight and have enjoyed what we've got. Chat is now open. It is really good to see everybody. And if you got a question or a comment, put it in the house for me tonight. We will take it. And we will talk with you about this for a few minutes, and then we'll say goodnight. We got about 140, almost 200 folks, because we got several people in Facebook, and we got almost 50 people in Facebook. So we're right at 200 people tonight. That's not too bad for a 7th day of October or November at 12:44 a.m. in the East, or 11:44, I should say. No, it is 12:44. That's right. It is 11:44, and so forth, and we are grateful for you all tonight. By the way, I don't know, we're going to play this tomorrow night. John Voight is basically condemning his daughter tonight for her anti-Israel rant. Good for John Voight, Angelina Jolie's daughter, and he wasn't too happy with her anti-Semitism. So forth. Got a question tonight, folks. And again, folks, questions only. Questions only. If you got questions, this ain't the chat time. This ain't saying hi and all that stuff. If you got a question tonight, folks, got a question. Got a question. You got a question. Put it in the house. You got a question. Put it in the house for me tonight. Questions only. Questions only tonight. If you got a question, put it in the house. Got a question, put it in the house. Late Night McFiles special. We're grateful to have you tonight. If you got a question or a comment. Kathy McGuire says, very enlightening program. Thank you. Rebecca Sloan says, why do the young ones not know or believe there is a Holocaust? Because history is not taught in schools anymore, nor is civics. Young ones do not even know the Pledge of Allegiance. They have read the Constitution. They are our future. Rebecca, I disagree with that. That last part, they're not our future, my friend. They're our current. They're our present. Don't think they're our future. These kids are influencing our elections right now. A lot of these same kids that don't believe in the Holocaust are voting. That survey that I read to you was from a poll by The Guardian in 2020, 18 to 39-year-olds. So this idea that they're our future, no, there are today. And everything else, I agree with you there. Everything else, I'm with you 100% on. But I would caution you to worry about their future, because there are to now. They're going on. They're influencing our country right now. The bigger question is where that ignorance came from, and I'm with you somewhat on the school system, but I don't blame the school system. I blame the parents. I blame the parents, and Rebecca, I'm going to go ahead and say it, I blame the church. I blame the church, because the church has been solid about this, and the church has allowed this to take place too. So I'm with you. I'm with you. Praying for Israel, and I believe America is going to pay a very heavy price for all this anti-Semitism. Patricia, I am very much with you on that. I am very much with you on that. It's very sad. I'm with you. Jeannie, J6 prisoners must be released with this evil being allowed. I totally agree with that. Mary Cleveland. Hey, Mark Casey, good to see you, buddy. Praying for Israel too, buddy. Lots of people are foreigners, Middle Eastern, and should be deported. Mary, if they're here illegally, they should be. Look, we're a free country. They got a right to be here. But anyway, Carol Smith said, would you consider the world as chaotic? Oh, yeah, I would believe that. I would believe that they're chaotic. Deanna Salem, do you think a spirit of a chaos has been released on America? Deanna, it's just the spirit of the devil. I don't want to call it a spirit of chaos. It's just demonic. It's just demonic. This is nothing but pure, rank, Jewish hatred, ignorance beyond words, and cowardice. Cowardice. You know what frustrates me more, Deanna? The anti-Semitism bothers me. It grieves my heart to see this stuff. It grieved my heart to watch some videos and see those signs in D.C. That was in our nation's capital, folks. Over 100,000 people come out for that. Think about that. You know what bothers me more, Deanna? Are Christians that are keeping their mouth shut right now. That Christians that don't have the moral courage or the moral clarity to stand up for Israel. That don't have the moral courage to understand what this conflict is about. They don't have the brains. They would rather defend the Q gospel and defend the Q stuff and post that all over the place and post these narratives and post this false stuff all over the place, but they don't have a moral fiber in their body to have 1 ounce of courage to stand for Israel. I'm going to tell my audience tonight, folks, if you have any question about whether your host stands for Israel or not, let me make it abundantly clear to you that on this situation, we come down not just supporting Israel's right to exist, but I support her right to destroy every living, freaking blanking Hamas terrorist on the face of God's green earth. And I'm going to say this again to the lawyers out there that is claiming that Israel is doing a genocide on Gaza tonight. Folks, Gaza brought this on themselves. The Gaza Strip was annexed by Ariel Sharon wrongly. And that's on Gaza. I mean, that's on Israel's government back in 2004. But I'm going to say this. Every drop of blood that flows from this point on in Gaza has never been on Israel now. It's on Hamas. Chris has got something called a brain. I've got a sound mind tonight saying that. Because I see this with moral clarity, and I see the evil that was perpetrated on the Jewish people on October the 7th, and I've never had a question in my mind what Israel has a moral obligation to do and what they have a right to do in defending themselves. And I don't sit back and shed a tear over the atrocities of war, folks. This is war. Nobody wants war. I'm not rejoicing in war tonight. I'm not rejoicing in the killing. I'm not rejoicing in any of this. My heart is torn to pieces. But I'm also torn to pieces for those 2 little babies that I played the video of tonight, folks, those 2 5-year-old girls that are not in their homes tonight and in that bed tonight with their mom and daddy. They're probably terrified, and God knows if they're even alive right now in the Gaza Strip, held by Hamas butchers. And you are a plain coward. You're nothing but a plain coward if you can't stand up for what is right in this conflict. And you're worse. You're worse than the terrorist. You're worse than the terrorist. You're worse than the terrorist. And I'll admit myself for the first time on this Tuesday morning. When people turn from God, Leslie, in the country, we will be punished and judged. My friend, that is so true. That is so true. And, you know, that is exactly what is happening. Leslie, our country, you know, Dan Glovac, he sort of alluded to it tonight. Our country's just lost our moral compass, folks. We don't have a moral compass. We don't even know what's good anymore. We don't even know what's evil anymore. And Isaiah declared it in Isaiah 5, folks. When you start calling evil good and good evil, you got apostasy. You've got an apostate nation. You don't have a Christian nation. It's not just America. It's the whole world that's under this spell, folks. I don't lay it at the school system. That's a spiritual problem. I'll lay that at these cricket for brain pastors that have kept their mouths shut during this time. Folks, the pastors, the preachers, the teachers, the prophets, the apostles, the evangelists should be screaming to the top of their lungs what is morally right tonight in this conflict. It's a war. They're not doing it. They're not doing it. Who was that said that? Crickets. I think it was, who was it? Dorothy. Dorothy, good to see you tonight. Dorothy Martinez. She says, crickets. Joan Davis. While stationed in Germany in 1974, I visited Dachau concentration camp. It was in July. You could still smell the smell of burning flesh, and to see the barracks they lived in, it broke my heart. Joan, I bet it did. And Joan, you know what's so sad tonight to me? That people, to hear you talk, to hear that statement, they would probably accuse you of lying about that. There are people in this nation, and there are Twitter handles that I know that would probably take issue with you saying that. I don't. I'm sure it did break your heart. I can't even watch movies on the Holocaust without crying. Schindler's List really was the movie that I'd never seen before 2000. I think I watched it in 99, actually. It was 99, early 2000. And I'd never seen it. I'd seen the preview of it, but I'd never really watched it. But I sit there and watch that movie. It's a 3.5-hour movie. I cried for 3 weeks. I'm telling you, my heart was burst in pieces by the Lord. I think the Lord did it. I couldn't even eat, sleep, or drink for 3 weeks without just bursting into tears. And I think it was at that moment in my life that God gave me a divine love for the Jewish people. Not a blind following of the geopolitical state, but for the people of Israel. And understanding their role in the end times and understanding their role in its relationship to the church and America, folks. Corey ten Boom said you can't love God and not love God's people. That works on many levels. You can't love God and hate the Jews. You can't love God and disparage the Jews. You can't love God and deny that the Jews are God's chosen people. You can't love God and claim there's two sets of Israel and two bloodlines. This bloodline talk, folks, I shared with you the other night, it's nothing but anti-Semitism, folks. It's the same rhetoric of the Germans. The Germans believed the Jews were of an ungodly bloodline, and the Aryan race was the only race that God had ordained to live and survive on this earth. It's no different, folks, in these telegram rooms and these so-called prayer warriors and all these prayer leaders that are claiming that there's two bloodlines running through Israel. Folks, it's the same rhetoric. It's the same rhetoric. It's the same rhetoric. Joan, I bet it did break your heart. It would have broke mine. It would have broke mine. It would have broke mine. Questions and comments, folks, please. Do you think major cities in America are going to be attacked by terrorists because of this war? I do, Jamie. I do. I don't know if it's actually going to be major cities. It could be other cities, but it's coming. You know, Carol, you know what's so sad? And Carol Smith says, she says maybe they should visit the Holocaust Museum in D.C. I did. Lots of pictures there. Yeah. Carol, you know what's so sad about that statement? And your statement is right on target. Even if they went to the look, I look at Joan Davis tonight. If they was to go to Dachau, like Joan did, Joan was there in '74, and she said she could still smell it. If people was to have been at the concentration camps themselves, you would still have people that claimed Israel lied about the Holocaust, that it didn't exist. And by the way, let me remind you folks about a little thing of history. The Holocaust took place. Israel wasn't a nation during that time. They were not an official nation. They were just Jewish people. They were a group of, it was a race. Hitler, I believe it was Satan's attempt to snuff out the nation of Israel's rebirth before it ever got rebirth. It was an attempt by the devil to destroy every Jew he could on the face of the earth. And I tell you what, he came not totally close, but 6 million Jews, folks, ain't nothing to sneeze at. It ain't nothing to sneeze at. He didn't succeed because it was God's plan. Carol, even if they went to the Holocaust Museum, I don't think that it would I don't think it would matter. But I'm with you. I would hope it would help, but I don't know if it would. Anyway, Janie, the gates of hell have been unleashed against us. Patricia Diabella, I'm going to repeat your statement. Praying for Israel, and I believe America is going to pay a very high price myself for all this anti-Semitism. Folks, let me tell you something. That kind of march yesterday, when you see something like that in this country, let me tell you something. That's a lot of people. I'm not saying that it's all of us. They didn't represent me up there. That's not my sentiment. But I'm going to tell you something. There's a lot of Americans, folks, that movement that was in D.C. over the weekend, they sit there and applauded that. They may not have been there in person, but they were there in spirit. And by their cowardice and by what they post and what they say to others, you can tell that they're on board with what these people did. They may not have been in D.C., but if they could have been, they would have been. And I'm with you, Patricia. I'm with you. I'm with you. Joan says, I've always loved God's Word, but after seeing the camp for myself, I developed a love for the Jewish people and still have one and would fight for them as I would America. Joan, buddy, I'm going to tell you something, my friend. I don't know you other than that name, but I want to tell you I'm with you 1,000%. I'll tell you a quick story. I've got a friend here in Knoxville, him and his wife, and I met them in 2001. And he was a Messianic rabbi. He was a believer in Jesus, and he and I became friends. And his wife, Ann, went on to be with Jesus about 5 or 6, 7 years ago. But this has been 22 years ago. And I'll never forget, we were going out to dinner. I was in the back seat, and we got to talking about things that are going on tonight. This was 22 years ago, and we were talking about what would happen if this country, if America turned anti-Semitic, and that they started hunting Jews down. And Ann was talking, and she says, I don't know what we would do, where we would hide, because we don't have a lot of, we don't have a lot of family here in the States. They were not from here, and she turned in the front seat and looked at me in the back seat, and she says, Chris, she said, during the Holocaust, the Gentiles, a lot of people that were not Jewish, hid the Jews from the Germans. She says, do you think there would be many in America that would do the same today that they did in Nazi Germany? Like Corrie ten Boom was one. And Corrie got caught, sent to a concentration camp. Her sister died in the camp. Corrie survived. You can read this story called The Hiding Place. But Ann looked at me and she said, would you promise me and my husband, if something happened, that we could depend on you to help us and hide us? It was at that moment, just a quick 30 seconds, I had to answer that question. And I looked at her and I said, Ann, I said, yes, I would. Yes, I would. Because like you, Joan, at that point, I had developed a love for God's people that I had basically sold out to the fact that I would put my life on the line to protect them at whatever cost. I would. I'm putting this show's reputation on the line every night because there's been a lot of hatred sent our way because of what we're saying. People have left, cut their support, cut their ties with us. They don't talk to us. They have went their merry way. They slur us to others. They innuendo stuff on their handles because they know how we feel about this very subject. Well, I got news for them. McDonald ain't losing sleep over it. And if push comes to shove, this host is going to stand in the gap for God's chosen people because it's worth it to me. And John, I'm with you 1,000%. I would die for him too, if need be. Because it's the right thing to do to stand up against evil. Dietrich Bonhoeffer stood up against evil. He lost his life for it. Martin Niemöller stood up against the Nazis. He lost his life for it. I don't say this lightly. I don't say it flippantly. But I've got the moral clarity tonight and a love and a sound mind to know what's right and wrong. And what's being done to the Jewish people tonight in Israel is wrong. And what people are doing on the internet against Israel and the Jewish people is wrong and anti-Semitic. And it's evil. It is rank evil. And if that question was asked to me 22 years later tonight, I would answer it the same way that I did in that car that night to my dear friends that are Jewish. That are Jewish. That are Jewish. But anyway, all right. Let's see what we got going on here. Sammy Hay. Powerful, powerful show. Great, just great. God bless you, my friend. God bless you. God bless you. Curtis Astrop, it's good to see you tonight. Curtis been sick. He says, I watched a movie today about the Jewish people escaping Germany on the ship. Miss St. Louis in 1939. Cuba turned them away and our country turned them away. Roosevelt could have stepped in. You know, Curtis, we've not talked about the St. Louis. I'm glad you do. It's 1 o'clock. I don't have time. I'm going to talk about the St. Louis tomorrow night, Curtis. I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of people don't know that story, Curtis. A lot of people don't know that story about the St. Louis, and you're right. America has blood, Holocaust blood on its hands because of what FDR did. And he died not too shortly after that, Curtis. He died about 4 years later after that. Called a debilitating disease after that. Yeah, sure did. America got drawn into the war after that. We could have stopped the death of about 939 Jews, and we basically turned them back to their death by what we did that day. Good reminder, and I will deal with that tomorrow night with John McTurnan. Folks, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I got to get up and sing tomorrow. We tracked today. We're going to sing tomorrow, and we'll have that project out to you into December probably sometime. It's going to be beautiful. But listen, I want to thank you for being with me tonight. All opinions are mine. I don't back down from any of them. I've been a little sarcastic tonight. I guess I could be a little nicer, but it wouldn't be McDonald if I did. You just better be grateful that I'm in a hotel room and I can't scream like I want to scream tonight. You just better be grateful that I'm in a hotel room tonight, because things could have got a lot hotter than they did. But folks, it's time to take a stand one way or the other. You can be a coward, or you can be a courageous lover of Jesus tonight. You can be a liar, or you can be somebody that stands for truth. You can be a manipulator of the facts, a manipulator of history, or you can stand on the side of right. You can back evil and lie and push misinformation, or you can stand as one that God's pleased with because you're standing on His side of this. I'm going to say this tonight as a close, folks. You better get on the right side of this argument. God is using this. I firmly believe this, folks. God is allowing this. At the very minimum, He's allowing this to happen. But when these things go on like this, it always draws a line in the sand, and you find out real quick the moral fiber of people's hearts and souls when this stuff happens. And it's on display. And it's not all good, what we're seeing. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for everything tonight. God bless you. God bless your families. God bless this great nation of America. Did you enjoy the show tonight? Put some fire in that house. And we're grateful that you have been with us tonight. I want to say thank you for all of you that have been with us. It's good to see Leslie Millwee tonight. Leslie, I'm glad you stayed up with us tonight. Roger Hooker, thank you, my friend. Eva, Jeannie, John, Jeannie, Eva, good to see you all tonight over on Facebook. John Davis, thank you so much. God is calling for a vote. I love what Joan says. Joan, it's a pleasure tonight. You've been great. Good to see Mark Kaysen, Diane Stevenson. Joan says it right. She says, God is calling for a vote. Believe his word about his people and stand with them or stand with the devil. Against them, I vote for God. Joan, I think that's as good as you can say it. That's as good as you can say it. That is as good as you can say it, folks. God is casting a vote tonight. I think she said it right. I think that's right. I'll amen myself. I'll amen myself. And I'll amen Joan too. Listen, have a good night, everybody. And I will see you when I see you next. Probably tomorrow night. We're going to have John McTurnan on. No Bible study in the morning. We'll try to have one Wednesday or Thursday. Definitely have one Thursday, probably. Sometime during the day, Thursday and Friday. But we'll get back to normal next week. But listen to me, folks. Stand for what's right tonight. Stand for what's right. Stand for what's right. Search your soul. Search your hearts. Be careful what you're posting out there. Be careful of what you're hearing and listening to. Stand for right. Get on the right side of this. Get on God's side of this, as John says. And you won't go wrong. All right? Have a good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Did you enjoy the show? Put some fire in that house for me. And we're going to go out and give you a chance to talk. Since you didn't get a chance to talk earlier, I'll play a little song to let you fellowship. Have a good night, everybody. Put comments in there. Be blessed on this Tuesday morning now, the 7th of November. Remember, the 7th of November. Have a good one. See you later tonight.